What's up, guys? This is my video response for Bergman's Wild Strawberries for the Criterion Film Club. Just watched it 2 nights ago. Actually shot this video yesterday and then accidentally deleted it off my phone. So second time doing this, hopefully better than the first time because the first time wasn't the best video. Really good film. Really enjoyed it. It was about an hour and a half long. Had a pretty good pace about it. It's about an elderly man who is to receive an honorary doctorate from the university that he taught at the following day, at least when it starts the following day. So the movie takes place over 2 days, or one night and a day. So the opening scene starts with him kind of reflecting on the fact that he's receiving this honorary doctorate, and he's making a note in a journal, and he he notes that while he's worked very hard in his life and he's been very successful in his career, the latter portion of his life has been lonely, and due to the fact that he just doesn't really interact well with people, and just it's just kind of a closed off man. So he makes this entry, goes to sleep, has a dream in which he's like walking these empty streets, and then he sees a clock that has no hands on it, and then later a carriage like crashes and a coffin falls out and it opens and he walks over to see what's in the coffin, and it's his body, and his body reaches out to grab him, and then he kind of wakes up. I thought that the dream was interesting. I kind of took it as, here he is, this lonely man, all alone, and that's kind of how, and he's run out of time, and that's just kind of how his life is going to end, as him, just this lonely person, with just himself. So wakes up the next day, and originally he was going to fly to this town, and instead he decides to make it like a road trip, and his daughter-in-law lives with him at the moment, and she overhears him and just asks if she can tag along, because she would like to visit her husband, who teaches at the university that he's receiving the doctorate from now. So he says yes. They get in the car and talking, and she brings up, I guess he's loaned them some money, and I guess they're having a hard time paying it back, and he's pretty stubborn about it, and he's like, if you make a promise, you should keep a promise, my son understands that. And she's, yes, but at the same time, they can't move on with their lives because they're having to pay back this loan to a man that has so much money, and basically, he lives alone, he doesn't have anything, he's only got a few years left in life probably, and he's just going to die with all this money rather than just helping them. So at one point, he says, you don't have to pretend, I know you don't like me. And then he kind of asks her what she thinks about him, and to be honest, and she pretty much lets him have it. She tells him, he's just this cold old man who lacks compassion. He kind of hides it behind his old world manners, but people that have gotten close to him know, what kind of person he is. And he's not really like a mean person. He's just kind of like rigid, kind of just set in his ways, kind of just does things by the book. So they kind of argue about that. Not, it's not like a big argument or anything, but so they just kind of continue on. They end up stopping at his, I guess, childhood summer home, and while they're there, he kind of has like a flashback and sees Sarah, who is, I guess, the love of his life, his first love, and she's picking wild strawberries, and she ends up kissing his brother, and then you see where she kind of regrets it, but says that, while Isaac, the main character, while he would, he loves her, will treat her well, take care of her, he's going to be successful in life, and even though his brother, who everyone thinks is worthless and is going to be a nobody, he just brings this excitement to her that she doesn't get from Isaac. And it's pretty much because he's just, like I said, just kind of like a by the book guy who just doesn't really do anything extraordinary outside of his career. And so, you kind of see that, and it kind of sheds some light on how he came to be this way. I mean, because if you lose the love of your life to your brother, I mean, that's got to do something to you. And so, he has this flashback, and then right before they leave, they meet a girl who, she's a hitchhiker, I guess. Well, she's hitching a ride. It's not really hitchhiking back then, but she hitches a ride with them, and she actually has the same name and is actually played by the same actress as his first love in his flashback. And she's with two guys, and they so they join them on the ride. And on the way there, I want to say they get in an accident first. They either get run off the road first, or they stop at his mother's house first. One of the two. But I'll just go with they got run off the road first. So they get run off the road by this couple, and this couple is, so they end up giving this ride a couple. Oh, they give this couple a ride, and then the couple kind of just argue with each other, and they're just really like shitty towards each other, and you can tell it's really bothering his daughter-in-law who's driving now. And then she just asked them to get out. She can't take it anymore, and it's not good for the kids they're like in their 20s, but it's not good for them to see this, and so kicks them out. They end up stopping for lunch, and while at lunch, they kind of leave the hitchhikers behind while they go and visit his mother. And at this visit, you kind of see that his mother is actually, like, I guess, a colder person than he is. And you can see, like, on the face of the daughter-in-law that this is, like, she's almost having, like, a panic attack, and you don't really know why. And so, but later you find out. So they end up getting back on the road. At one point they stop, and they're in the car, just the two of them, Isaac and his daughter-in-law. And she ends up telling him that, I guess, yeah, well, he tells her that, he's had these dreams about, being dead and then lonely and dead. And then she tells him about that she's pregnant and that she wants to have the child where his son, her husband, doesn't. And so they're kind of, split up at the moment, and that's why she's staying with him. And she asked him, this may have been earlier, but she asked him if he remembers what his response was when she asked to stay with him. And he said, I'm sure I said I was delighted. And she's like, no, that's not your response at all. You were pretty harsh about it, kind of like, I don't want to be involved in your affairs. And I think he was a little shocked at that, I guess, he's so set in his ways and so cold of a person that he doesn't even realize it, So I don't think he intentionally means to be that way. He just doesn't realize the type of person he is. And and earlier when they're on the ride at the very beginning, while they're having that first argument, he's saying that his son is just like him, and she tells him that his son hates him, and there's like a close up on his face, and he's like shocked to hear his son hates him. So that was big. I don't know, I forgot that, but that happened early on. And so you can tell he's pretty concerned about their relationship, that she wants to have this child, but her husband doesn't. And she's worried that her husband is going to end up like him, just this cold person who's alone and just kind of wants to be that way. The reason why she had the panic attack earlier was because she saw it in the mother. She sees it in him, and she's seen signs in her husband that he's headed down that path. And so later, and this may have happened before. Some of the like dream sequences are a little, I don't remember the order. He has a dream where he's like in a classroom. He's failed a test, and the the professor of the classroom is actually the guy that they ran off the road, the shitty guy, and his wife is actually in that class as well. And basically, they say like he's failed because of the way he is. He's a cold person, and like his, I guess, punishment is that he is to live alone the rest of his life, and it's just kind of a you know kind of a telling thing. And so later they end up going to his ceremony. Well, they arrive in town. Yeah, so they arrived in town at his son's house. He receives his honorary doctorate. Not a big part of the film. You kind of at that point you can tell it's not a big deal to him. Like it doesn't really mean anything to him. But that night he talks to his son, and they kind of work things out without saying much. Like he wants to tell him, not to worry about the loan. His son's kind of like, doesn't really want to talk about it, but he asked him about his the argument or the whole deal with his wife and the child, even without really saying it. And his son's basically like, we'll work it out, because I love her. I kind of want, I don't want to lose her. So he's happy about that. And he basically the whole film is about this old man who, at the end of the day, realizes that, while career achievements are great, the most important thing in life are your friendships and relationships you build with people. And at the end of the film, when he goes to sleep that night, he's happy because he's kind of worked out this relationship with his son and daughter-in-law, who's really the only people he has left in his life outside of his mother, who's like 96 years old, and a maid who's really his only friend that he's had for like 40 plus years. And they have a friendly relationship, but still kind of business, but pretty good. But yeah, that's basically what I got out of it. That's a movie about a guy who, at the end of the day, learns that friendships and relationships are the most important thing in life. And it's not always about being successful with your career, because that doesn't really benefit anybody but yourself. Yeah, so maybe not the greatest review, but that's what I got out of it. I enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. And if you haven't subscribed to the Criterion Film Club, definitely do that. We've watched some pretty good films. Weekend, a little different, but I am glad we watched it. I actually kind of want to get it now so that I can maybe check out the special features and maybe it'll shed some light on the film. But yeah, definitely subscribe to Criterion Film Club. I'll put the link below. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I will try to shoot the Pitfall response video. I actually shot that one as well yesterday and deleted it. But I'll try to do that next or later today. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.